Coach Cronin, what was you obviously had some meat now to look at your team throughout the season in a competitive tournament over the weekend. What kind of your takeaway from what you saw from the guys playing in that tournament?
I thought we played really hard. Didn't execute well in the second half of the Rhode Island game on either end of the floor. It cost us that game, so it's a learning experience for our team. But from the coaching staff point, you get to see us against teams that can hurt us when we make mistakes. So it's a great teaching point for your team, so you can come home, hopefully over the next week, clean up the things you need to clean up, because everybody's doing the same thing. As this goes on, everybody's going to get better, everybody's going to make less mistakes. So that's why it's good to get reality early, win, lose, or draw, because that's the only way you get better. Because sometimes, as a coach, it can fall on deaf ears after a while. It needs to happen so the guys understand it. They need to go through it. So it was a great weekend for us as far as getting a chance to get better.
I've had Kyle and Jacob kind of carrying the scoring for the most part. We were talking among ourselves before about Troy's, still your guy, your leader. Any thoughts on his game so far? Or, he's not scoring as much. Maybe he doesn't have to.
I think he would tell you that he's missed some shots that he expects to go in. I don't think Jacob thinks he's going to continue to shoot 64% either. That's why I don't put a lot of stock into stats or early in the season other than turnovers. So after 4 games, it's just too small of a sample size to talk about who's shooting the ball well. But there's really not a lot of surprise for us. I mean, the guys that probably are taking the most shots are who we expected to. You really look at we knew, the guys would tell me, they know Kyle's really hard to defend around the basket, 15 feet and in. So I think it'll even out. Troy's percentage will go up. Jacob's will come down over time. But really not too much surprise there.
Troy's closing in on 1,000 points for his career, which is a big deal for him. I don't know what you think about it. Just some thoughts about what he's meant to the program here.
Yeah, I wouldn't put points on it. I base it off of wins. When you look at a guy's career, I think, especially his sophomore and junior year, he shouldered a lot of responsibility as a very young guy at 18 and 19 years old for this team to continue our winning ways and to be a relevant team and an NCAA tournament team. Probably some of it before he was ready to do it, and he had to grow up a lot through all that, because sometimes you make the shot, sometimes you miss the shot. So he's a guy that's much has been expected of him for the last few years. So I think I'm hoping he has a great senior year and enjoys it, because he's a guy that has had a lot of pressure on him his sophomore and junior year. He's got a lot more help this year. So I'm really hoping that he can have a great year, but also win, and I think not having the pressure to carry the load will be good for him. But he's been, I just stay with him. It's just stay aggressive. But with guys, when you have a guy like that that's been with you a long time and has affected your winning, you sit there and think, well, where would we be without him? And so that's how you equate a guy's value. So thank God he's been with us the last few years.
How does it change your offense, your approach or whatever, to have a guy like Kyle Washington in the middle that you throw the ball in there and know pretty much that he can score most of the times he touches the ball there? For a while.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's a problem. You can't guard him one-on-one in there. We're still learning to play together as a team at times. For him, he was because he played limited minutes, and because of his aggressiveness, he's still adjusting to realizing I'm going to play, the ball's going to come my way, and to find a rhythm within the offense. And I think for all of us, all the guys, probably, again, every team may be going through this, but we're a very different offensive team with him than we were without him. But I would say the same thing for Gary Clark, because he hasn't played with Kyle before, who's such a potent offensive player. So Gary's trying to figure out where where he fits in and where he can get his opportunities. So I think it's just offensively, we're trying to play together, but I see in my opinion, we're going to be a lot better in a couple weeks. Really in January is when I'm really thinking.
So you can see Gary. Can you see Gary kind of maybe struggling isn't the right word, but trying to adjust to having him in there? And I guess there aren't even as many rebounds to get because he sucks those up.
Well, the rebounds, but I mean more importantly, touches 15 feet and in. Gary's playing a lot more facing the basket, so he's got to learn to make sure he rebounds as a perimeter attacker, and trying to get him to beat his man off the dribble more, what we call playing downhill more. And then, my job too is to make sure we get him included. There's some work because we can move Kyle out because he can shoot and move Gary back in. So, it's for all of us just trying to find, for me as the coach as well, trying to find a rhythm to make sure everybody's a part of the offense, which is why we're running much more of a motion offense this year, because we got guys that everybody needs to be a weapon and be able to have their hands on the ball.
Can you move those guys back and forth inside and out?
That's what I was, exactly.
Yeah.
Depending on the matchup too as well, it's right now trying to simplify things for Kyle is keeping him in more, because he probably struggles a little more the more I move him around about where he should be, which is had Gary have to sacrifice getting some interior touches.
Can you talk about Samford a little bit? What do they do? Who do we look for?
Well, they're big guy. Walker's second in the country in rebounding, I believe. So he's a double machine. Down low. Got a lot of young guards, some transfers. Kid from UMass is making shots for him, almost 50%. We'll see more zone than we've seen. We usually the first couple teams you play always play a zone. This year wasn't the case, so it'd be interesting to see how we handle Samford playing some zone against us, because I think that's definitely coming.
How pleased have you been with Jacob's game? I know you mentioned you think the shooting percentage will come down.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but his game looks great.
Yeah, Jacob's got a world of talent, and there's still times where I have to prod him to be aggressive, and realize that when he has space and any opportunity he has in space, that we all need him to beat his man and create offense, whether it's for himself or other people. I have to stay on him about that because he's such an unselfish player. But he's been great. He really has been. Probably the only thing I would tell you is maybe his offensive rebounding. I'd like a little bit more if I was to nitpick something. But he's more skilled than a lot of guys that we've asked to rebound. He makes up for it with his shot making.